Tank would never even think about hesitating to come up to 154.
All right, what about 47 though?
Yes, if he get to pick his opponent.
Boxing legend Terence Crawford weighs in on one of the sport's most anticipated potential matchups, explaining why Shakur Stevenson could have the edge over Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Before going into the details, legendary boxer Mike Tyson weighed in like a true fight fan, saying he'd put his money on Gervonta Davis in a showdown with Shakur Stevenson. He hyped Davis's raw power and killer instincts, said the guy hits hard and knows how to make a fight end fast.
Mike, who will win out of Shakur and Gervonta?
Gervonta Davis?
Yeah.
I like to go with Tank. You know, everyone's gonna go with Tank, you know. It would be a very interesting fight. Shakur takes a good shot, though. He's a specialist. That's why some fights that he doesn't look good in, because he's so superior. He is boring watching sometimes. But he's a specialist. He knows what he's doing. He's hard to beat. To bring out the best in Shakur, you gotta pressure him like Tank. Tank will bring out the best of him, and we'll see a great fight. Tank is just a monster right now.
As the discussion turned toward stylistic matchups between Shakur and Tank, Crawford predicted he believed Stevenson would have the edge. He bluntly said he disliked Tank Davis, and it was not about one specific incident, but rather Davis's overall attitude. Crawford described Davis as an overly arrogant and rude fighter.
I just really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like, I really don't like him. I don't like.
It's not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
Yeah, I don't like nothing about him. You know, I don't like nothing about him. I just felt like, you know, he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's, you know, using what he got to shield him.
Terence Crawford points out that Stevenson's technical skill could neutralize Davis's power, Davis's talent and respect in boxing, but said Stevenson was a different fighter. He noted that criticisms of Stevenson being boring or light-hitting mirrored what others had said about great defensive fighters, like Floyd, and emphasized that Stevenson's style and discipline made him a unique challenge in the ring.
Like I said, I respect Tank. Like, boxing, he's one of the ones.
Yeah.
We're gonna take his personality and personal things out of it. But boxing, he's definitely talented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's definitely got that it. And yeah, he's definitely respected in boxing. But Shakur is a different fighter. You know, Shakur is different. You know, people may call him boring. People may say he can't punch. But they say the same thing about Floyd. Because they defensive fighters.
Yeah.
Gervonta Davis reacted bluntly when questioned about choosing his recent fight instead of pursuing high-profile matchups with fighters like Shakur Stevenson. He dismissed public opinion, saying fans frequently changed favorites and expectations and should focus on enjoying the sport rather than criticizing fighters' choices or personal lives. He said he is confident in his own decisions and career path.
Gervonta, a lot of boxing fans aren't happy with the fact you've taken this fight rather than the road rematch, fights with the likes of Shakur, Devin Haney, Teofimo, etc. What do you make of that reaction? And can we still expect to see those fights?
Why should I care? What they think? When y'all switch somebody can have a bad day and y'all switching on who y'all favorite fighter is or who this person is supposed to fight. Like, y'all need to sit back and be fans and just enjoy the sport. Like, y'all even talk about people's personal lives. Like, why, when it come to that?
As the questioning continued about future matchups, Davis pushed back on the narrative surrounding expectations. He pointed out that the same fighters being mentioned had recently competed and won, yet their performances were still inspected differently than his own.
Can we still expect to see any of those fights in the future, though?
And y'all keep talking about fighting somebody. Didn't he just have a fight? And what happened? What happened? He won, right? But how he look in it? Exactly. But y'all say some different shit when it's me, right? Cause y'all want me to lose. When y'all see people in that limelight too long, they want to take that they want somebody else to come take that spot.
As the conversation shifted to the tension between the two fighters, Shakur Stevenson explained how the situation developed over time. He said they were once on good terms and had mutual respect dating back to their amateur days, which was visible in earlier interactions.
Every black on the planet
that's a fact.
wants to see
that.
me versus Tank.
Yeah, fact.
So it's like, with him, with his pride and like his ego and shit, it's hard for him to even, want to get on the phone with me, want to reach out.
According to Shakur, the whole game changed once he began to be viewed as a serious threat, and the support he initially received turned into distance and hostility. He added that outside narratives and rumors fueled the situation, but maintained that the real turning point came when attention and comparisons started focusing on him, altering how the other fighter responded.
That nigga just got too much ego, I guess.
But where did the beef come from? Because it's like, it seemed like he really don't like you.
Nah, he don't.
But why? Like, what did y'all do? Because y'all was cool at one point, right? We see videos of y'all as amateurs. It was cool. Y'all knew each other. Like, where did it start that y'all don't like each other?
Nah, that shit started from him. Like, everybody really think like, cause people run with like false narratives, so they gonna say they versions of like the story, but truthfully, like when I first was around the nigga, he was showing a lot of love, and then once I became a threat, is where like everything switched over.
With speculation continuing about his future, Tank addressed talk of retirement and criticism surrounding potential opponents. Davis questioned why Shakur Stevenson's name was repeatedly mentioned, arguing that Stevenson had not yet accomplished enough in the sport to justify the hype, and claiming other younger fighters appeared more impressive.
Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him. Who that? The Keyshawn. Keyshawn looking way more better than this. I keep screaming his name. He haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who
Y'all
might
keep
be
saying
afraid?
his name for?
So what do you say to those who might be saying that Tank is afraid of Shakur?
Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Us fighters, if we're afraid of something, it got to be somebody hitting us and hurting us.
Tank Davis addressed questions about his 135-pound contemporaries, including Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, questioning the hype around them. He said Stevenson had only recently moved up in weight and had not yet proven power at lower divisions. He suggested that handling punches effectively was just as important as technique, framing power and resilience as key elements in evaluating fighters.
Some of your 135 contemporaries have a lot to say these days. Shakur Stevenson, well, of course, he's now 135 after all that stuff, and then Devin Haney.
Right, so why people even talk like he the best at, he didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't even have power at 126, 30 or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you, all that's just okay. How can you stop people that can actually hit? No matter all that boxing, you going to get hit. What you gonna do when you get hit?
Adding on, American former professional boxer Jones Jr. said Stevenson would currently have the edge over Davis due to his discipline. Stevenson maintained focus and composure throughout his fight with Teofimo and lived a relatively controlled lifestyle outside the ring, which reinforced his performance. On the other hand, Davis had shown occasional lapses in discipline, both in and out of the ring. Jones said that Stevenson's consistent self-control made him a more reliable and effective fighter at this point in their careers.
Who wins that fight right now, in your opinion?
Right now, Shakur wins it because of his discipline. Because he showed against Teofimo that he can stay very disciplined all night. And he's the type of guy, he don't really do a lot of crazy stuff in his life normally. So it's like discipline is a thing that is not only exercised inside the ring, it's exercised also outside the ring. And as we see, sometimes Gervonta has problems with discipline. But we have never seen Shakur have problems with discipline. We've seen him be more disciplined at the right times.
Meanwhile, Roy Jones Jr. praised Shakur Stevenson after his recent fight with Teofimo, calling it a potential moment in the making for an all-time great. Stevenson's 4-division championship, composure under pressure, tactical skill, and ability to dominate a strong opponent. Jones also commended Teofimo for accepting the high-risk fight, saying it reflected courage and professionalism.
I think Shakur definitely showed that he's going to be on that list very soon. 4-division champion already. They're looking to get more. Show that he has all the tools, all the tactics. Stay cool under pressure. Proved a lot of things. Took a good fighter and took him to school. And that's what great fighters do. So it's like, you got to give him his props. Excellent outcome. Had shots out to Teofimo too for taking a fight at that risk at that time in his career, because that was a high risk for Teofimo. He knew what he was getting himself into, I think, but for him to take that still said a lot about him.
Roy Jones Jr. said he favored Shakur Stevenson to win a potential fight with Gervonta "Tank" Davis because Stevenson's discipline both in training and under pressure gave him a consistent edge and made his performances more reliable, especially after watching Stevenson control big fights with precision. However, Jones also stressed that Davis couldn't be overlooked. He argued that if Tank got his focus right and committed fully both inside and outside the ring, his natural ability, power, and unpredictability would make him a serious threat to anyone, including Stevenson.
With the fight being like it is right now, I would lean towards Shakur because of his discipline, but don't get it twisted. If somebody could beat him, Tank Davis would be that person because of his intangibles. When Tank is disciplined and got his mind on right, Tank is a problem for anybody. Tank can fight better than most people think he can. It's just that sometimes his outside antics get the better of him, and it makes people think less of him, but don't underestimate Tank Davis. If Tank is motivated and ready to fight, Tank is a problem for anybody.
Terence Crawford laid it out in a way that sounded almost like fight night commentary when he talked about Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, and Devin Haney. He said he didn't necessarily like Tank personally, but he respected Davis's skills, power, and explosiveness, and acknowledged that all three fighters were talented and knew what they were doing inside the ring.
You can't pick one? They both all great fights.
I can't. You know what I mean? Because Devin's my guy. You know what I mean? Shakur, that's my little brother. You know what I mean? Like, I don't rock with Tank like that, but I respect Tank's skills and, you know what I mean, what he's doing in the sport right now. But, you know what I mean? They all talented. They all skillful. They all, you know what I mean, know what they doing in the ring, you know, boxing. But all three of them can box. You know what I mean? So all got they attributes that suit them.
Furthermore, he pointed out that Davis, despite being shorter, hit harder and had more sudden bursts of power, while Stevenson had elite reflexes and defensive instincts that made him exceptionally hard to hit. At the same time, he noted Devin's physical advantages being taller and longer, and that each man had attributes that suited their style best, but he clearly saw Stevenson's speed, timing, and technical precision as the kind of tools that could neutralize even a puncher like Tank in a big fight.
The best. Tank, powerful.
Yes.
He might be shorter than him, but he punch harder than them, and he's more explosive than, you know what I mean, both of them. But like reflexes, Shakur, hands down, reflexes is killer. Now Devin, he's bigger than them. You know what I mean? He's taller, he's longer. You know what I mean? He's good at boxing. He's a boxer. You know what I mean? But
Kermel Moten, a rising prospect from the Mayweather gym who had the chance to go rounds with both Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson early in his career, said each session taught him something different about elite-level boxing. He described his work with Davis as a chess match where both fighters used speed and movement rather than full power, giving him valuable experience trading fast exchanges with a veteran puncher.
Shakur, he had told me that I'm one of his favorite amateur fighters, and that I got a lot of skills. I could beat a lot of pros, that's like champions or prospects right now. I could beat them, and when he told me that definitely gave me a lot of confidence too, because I know he's been in there with a lot of them guys. He's fought them, he's sparred all of them, and so he knows. Man, so yeah.
In comparing the two styles, Moten explained that Stevenson tended to push a steady, high-paced attack and keep pressure with sharp combinations, while Davis moved more and waited to explode with heavy shots, showing his burst power in spurts. These diverse experiences helped him grow as a boxer and gave him confidence sparring with some of the best in the sport.
Yeah, it's two totally different paces. Shakur's more like a constant pace. He takes his time, but he's always like in your face, putting his rangefinder out there. Tank, he move around more and he wait and he explode with shots. He likes to fight in spurts. So it's different, but it's all good work. It's all a learning experience, and this helps me get better. It's hard to say. All of them guys are really skilled. I feel like as of right now, the best out of them three, I'd have to say it's between Tank and Shakur. I feel like Shakur said, at the end, it's going to be them two. They're going to run through everybody else, and it's going to be them two at the end. So I feel like that's how it's going to go. And, yeah, it's great.
However, Gervonta "Tank" Davis was described as pushing his training to the limit, sharpening every weapon in his arsenal, as if he knew a fight like Shakur Stevenson's speed and skill was waiting on the horizon. Even outside of a confirmed matchup, Davis put in relentless work grinding through high-intensity workouts, heavy sparring, and conditioning that had training partners talking about his power and aggression, including reports of him cutting through sparring sessions with overwhelming force that left even bigger partners stunned. Tank's approach was all about explosive power, peak athletic conditioning, and staying ready for anything, because when a fighter trains the way he does with fire, focus, and a killer instinct, every punch feels like it could change the story of the fight. Fighters like him didn't just show up prepared. They came hungry, laser-focused, and ready to make a statement if that Stevenson fight ever came to life. Coming into the ring, Stevenson brings a mix of speed, precision, and ring intelligence. Shakur Stevenson had been keeping himself sharp and ready as talk of a potential clash with Gervonta Davis simmered. Even if the official fight wasn't finalized yet, Stevenson was still willing to step into the ring and hone his skills against fighters prepping for tank-level power, and he even publicly acknowledged the sparring role on social media.
Yeah, that's the second time that happened to you. Yeah. And I ain't even touch your body. Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah. Yep. Again. One more. Under.
Before that, he and Davis had shared a long-remembered competitive sparring session earlier in their careers, which Stevenson later described as challenging and thought-provoking, suggesting that both fighters tested each other hard even back then. With Stevenson continuing to stay active, keep his timing sharp, and maintain elite ring IQ while still pushing for a showdown with Davis, his training life was clearly geared towards staying ready for the sort of speed, skill, and tactical nastiness that a tank fight would demand.
Start the year off right. You about to take this shit over. The whole family. You know that.
While Stevenson versus Davis showdown hasn't been officially locked in yet, both fighters are widely seen as the two biggest names in the lightweight scene, and fans have been clamoring for this super fight for years, with Stevenson openly calling for the bout and Davis also expressing interest in facing him in the future, though negotiations and scheduling have kept the fight from materializing so far. Who do you think would win if Stevenson and Davis finally square off? Would Stevenson's discipline trump Davis's power and explosiveness? Or is Davis the kind of guy who can change the fight with one shot? If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more fight analysis, and drop your prediction in the comments. Let's hear who you think takes this dream matchup.